Love that song. So yeah, it's all about surrendering all. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope this finds you all well rested and ready to go and own the day, right? Seize the day. So as promised, I'm going to do the virtual version of what our class was supposed to be on Saturday. And for those of you that are going to be getting your book, this is chapter 2, and it is titled Running My Enemy, My Friend. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with the main story. I'm not going to go over the education piece only because it goes over things like pronation, arch support, that type of thing. And I'm going to leave that to the professionals at Roadrunner Sports. Let me back up. There's a couple updates. So I'm going to do the virtual, but before I do that, let me just make a couple announcements real quick. Again, I posted that I got your guys' books, so I will be delivering those, if not today, then definitely tomorrow. And then there's no physical class this weekend because I know a lot of you, or all of you, have that event at the Dream Center for St. Patty's Day. So really we'll see. Actually, I'll do another virtual class. That's what I'll do. Because I don't want us to lose any momentum, right? So we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and then we won't meet this weekend, but we will definitely meet the weekend after. And so if anything else changes or comes up, please don't hesitate to let me know, and we'll just adjust accordingly, right? Life happens, things happen. So, but I don't want you guys to lose momentum. If I have to go up there and run, or whatever I need to do, we'll figure it out, right? We'll take it one day at a time. Okay, so let's just jump right in. So again, I'm just gonna go over the main story. I'm not gonna go too much into the education piece only because we need to meet at Roadrunner, and I want you guys to talk with the professionals there only because they are so knowledgeable. They're such a blessing, I'm telling you. Like, I've learned so much from them, and I really want them to help you guys discover, if there's any kind of additional support that you need when it comes to your footwear, that type of thing. So in addition to having faith, right, and just stepping out in action, your next most valuable piece of equipment that you will ever need in running is your shoes. I can't stress that enough. I never really used to believe that. I just thought it was like a sales pitchy type thing that people would say so that they could sell you shoes, until I started this class last year, and I've learned so much since then, and I actually got fitted myself. So I went through the process of getting fitted and, taking the recording of like when you're running and like how your foot actually impacts like the ground. And so it was great insight for me, and I'm telling you, it has been a game changer. So definitely going to make that requirement for this class. And so we'll figure that out. But let's just dive right in, right? Okay, so week 2, again, this is called Running My Enemy, My Friend. So, main story. Why in the world am I doing this? I feel pretty good right now. I feel like I'm going to die. I know we've all felt that. That was a great run. That was a rather exhausting run. I feel like I could run for miles. I'm not at that point yet, but I'm hoping to get there. I feel like I couldn't run for another 10 feet. Anybody that has picked up running as a sport has felt and expressed all of the above and more. Growing up, I played nearly every sport imaginable: soccer, basketball, football, floor hockey, tennis, racquetball, hacky sack, that's even a sport, skiing, snowboarding, biking, and others. Although many of these sports involve running, some of them quite extensively, running is not the goal. It is one of the many components of that sport. After reading the intriguing account of the running of the super athletic Tara Hamara, hopefully I said that right, so the super athletic Hamara Indians in the book Born to Run by Christopher McDougall, I started to run with my wife sporadically. I even went out and actually purchased a pair of running shoes. We ran on a track at times. Other times we ran on back country roads. We started to really enjoy getting outside and running. We weren't in a hurry to break any records or run fast. And we just enjoyed the exercise, the outdoors, and each other's company. Later that year, we ran our first 5K in the great city of Chicago. In 2013, my wife and I ran on and off, but with no regularity. When we moved to South Jersey in the late summer, our running pretty much came to a halt. As 2014 approached, I knew it was time for more. One of my goals for this year is to run 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. It's been during these mostly early morning runs that I have embraced running as my enemy and my friend. You see, there are times when running seems like torture. At other times, it seems like you're gliding on air and could run indefinitely. My body screams, I hate you and I love you within the same run. In other words, I hate running, yet I love running. It reminds me of this dreaded flesh that we're stuck with until Christ redeems our bodies. That scripture is found in Romans chapter 8, verses 23. The Apostle Paul stated, "For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church." Ephesians 5:29. And yet, at another time, later on, the same man said, "For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, nothing good dwells." Romans 7:18. He realized the dual relationship a Christian man has with his own body and flesh. At times, we nourish and cherish our flesh. At times, we loathe our flesh. And just like running, the battle is not won by the body or the flesh. It is won in the mind. You can run much farther than you think you can. Yes, even you. I speak from personal experience. Yes, you can. Ask any running coach. I'm a running coach. I'm telling you, you can. Once an athlete gets into shape, running is more of a mental battle than anything. Oh, and by the way, those of you that are in this class are now officially athletes. Welcome to the athletic world. Welcome. In order to preserve while exhausted, to continue running when faint, to press toward the finish line without quitting, you must be mentally tough. And the very arena in which the battle is waged can actually become your friend. Why? It will strengthen you for future runs. Likewise, in the Christian life, the battle is not won by how you perform outwardly. By and large, the Christian race is won and lost in the mind. The wise man in Proverbs truly said it best when he said, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he." That was David, by the way. So to those of you who are about to quit in this race called the Christian life, revamp your thought life. Strengthen yourself mentally. Meditate on scripture. Intentionally think godly, positive thoughts. You will become stronger and you will look back on those tough days as your friend. For you fellow runners, if you see someone alongside the road with a half frown, half smile on their face, you will know it was me thinking about my run, my enemy, my friend. This story was written by Josh Miller from Woodstown, New Jersey. So just to recap on the scriptures that we talked about, so getting into the word. So this week's scriptures are 3. There's always 3. So the first one is Ephesians 5:29. The second is Romans 7:18. And then the third is Proverbs 23:7. One more time. Ephesians 5:29, Romans 7:18, and then Proverbs 23:7. So something to ponder this week as you go throughout your week. Should you run even when you don't feel like it? I'm going to answer for my personal self, yes. Yes, you should. In fact, as your coach, I will tell you very frankly that there are going to be more times that you do not want to run versus the times that you actually feel like you got enough energy or enough, gusto to get up and run. Nope. In fact, I had to personally embrace the concept that, guess what? That urge to want or, need to want to run is probably never going to show up at my door, at least for me personally. I have to do it anyways. I have to make my body move. And sometimes I will tell you that, again, just like what the story said, it's easier some days than others. But most of the time, it never shows up. So I no longer wait for it. I just do it. The other question I want you to ponder this week is, what areas of your life do you have a love-hate relationship with? And how are they parallel to running and faith? I want you to think about that. For me personally, I know that love-hate relationships, so time management, I feel like is always like a constant, especially with being a mom and just having twins. I know that things aren't perfect, but at the same time, like, it's kind of a love-hate thing, right? Like, you know, I enjoy my kids so much, I love them so much, but sometimes it is like so chaotic and I'm just like, Jesus, what is happening? And it's not that I hate my kids, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, just the whole time management. Sometimes I'm just too tired to do certain things, right? Which we're talking about, just like running. And so it's like I have to pick and choose carefully, like what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. And so it's like a love-hate relationship, right? It's kind of like my faith walk. There's things that I have to do that necessarily aren't as fun, right? Especially when you grow in your faith, right? God challenges you, so you get to different levels. And so, yeah, our faith walk is no different. You know, there's going to be things that we have to do that we don't necessarily like, or maybe that are super uncomfortable, but God will always give us the grace and the courage to do what we need to do. So keep that in mind. The third point to ponder is going to be, how do you avoid areas in your life that you should address due to the immense challenge? And I'm going to add or anxiety. I know personally, again, there have been many times in my, especially younger years, I would avoid things because I knew deep down the type of work that was going to be needed, or it was so overwhelming and there was so much anxiety. And I thought, I made myself believe, or I bought into the lie that if I just ignore it, it'll totally go away, or it'll fix itself. Now, every once in a great while, sure, that happened, but you can bet that it comes back every time until you deal with it. So think about that. Really try to hone in on areas that maybe you have, like, you know, deep down in your soul that you've been avoiding. They keep coming back around because God's trying to teach you something, or maybe he's trying to use you to teach others something in that area. So instead of running from it or hiding from it, I ask that you would just pray about it and go for it. Even if it's kind of, you know, even if it's scary, just go for it. Again, so the next piece is education. So it's just really an introduction to running shoes, which again, we'll go over. I think I have a video I could send you. Let me see if I can find some links. I know there's some resources, so let me see what I could do on that. But again, it's just, it was just the intro to running shoes, right? So you guys will see this when you get your books. Just keep in mind that when you are running, that you're producing an impact on your body that's equal to 3 to 5 times your body weight, right? So think about that number for a few seconds and then multiply that number times the number of steps you take while running. So the goal of your running shoes should be to minimize that impact on your body. So to give you an example, I'm not a mather, but I can do, you know, gym bro math with weights, but for those of you that are more number based, a live example would be, so like if you weigh 150 pounds, right, times 4 would be 600 pounds. Then that step is equal to 600 pounds, okay? So then you take the step times 5,000 steps, which would be a mile. That's a lot of pounds, okay? It's 3 million pounds. That's a lot. That's the impact right here that you have on your body. So just keeping that in mind. That's why I said shoes are the most important thing. So again, they go into pronation, foot shape, fit, feel. You have to make sure that you actually like your shoes too, or you're not gonna ever want to wear them. The ride, so like if you feel like you're, you know, working harder or have, you know, needing to run harder or change your running stride or jogging or shuffling stride, whatever, it's probably not the right fit. You have to think about midsole. Again, I don't want to overwhelm you guys, especially for those of you that are new to running. So I'm throwing these terms and words out, but I don't want it to overwhelm you. I know that's a lot easier said than done. So again, we will get to this piece and it will all be clearly explained by, I said, like the professionals, and they are so good about making it simplified. So I don't want to overcomplicate this or, you know, stress you out or cause you to kind of freak out. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to leave that there. But I did want to go over just a couple other things. We talked about impact, cushioning, surface. Something I want you guys to consider, surface. So some of you, again, some may have access to a treadmill, some may not. Some may like running in the park or the grass, and some may like running on the street. Whatever your preference is, or whatever you have access to, you got to work with what you have. However, I do want you to keep in the back of your mind, though, that the surface is important. So for instance, like when we run together as a group, we usually run at the park, right? Which is hard surface. So it's a mixture between the concrete sidewalk and concrete road. However, I do not run on the streets when I'm not with you guys. So I usually run on a treadmill only because, again, I'm 36. I'm trying to make sure that my joints last for a very long time and I can continue to do this for a long time. And I also do weightlifting as well. So I have to be very careful, and I want to make sure I take care of my ligaments and my joints. So I actually run on a treadmill only because it's softer. So that's something I want you to consider too, to think about your surfaces, because that's important. Another thing, we talked about weight, right? So naturally, if you're, upping your activity, if you're running, you're gonna naturally lose weight. It just happens, unless you're eating like a surplus of calories. We'll go more into nutrition later on. Again, I don't want you to focus on that per se. I do want you to be mindful of what you're putting in your body, but that's not the focus at this moment. I just want to get your body used to moving. That's what my goal is for right now. So we'll talk about that, but I mean, just like anything else, we know that if we're a little overweight, it does make it harder, right? But the cool thing about cardio is, again, you're upping your activity levels, right? You're getting your blood pumping, and your blood pumping, your heart moving. So it naturally, you speed up your metabolism, so you're gonna drop some weight. And then if you eat healthier, right? So you start feeling really good, and you're like, you know what? I want to eat good, and then you start eating good, and then you feel even better. So it's just a progression, okay? But again, not something I want to focus solely on right now. We'll get more into that later on as we progress through the chapters. But just kind of keep that in the back of your minds, okay? The quote of the week is the following: "Everyone is an athlete, but some of us are training and some of us are not." I know earlier I called you guys athletes, and that's exactly what you are. Just because you're not in high school anymore doesn't mean that you're not an athlete. You taking on this activity just qualified you as an athlete. So I know for me that was motivating when I heard someone call me an athlete for the first time. In fact, I think it was one of my first weightlifting competitions several years ago. And so I was like, wait, me? I'm not an athlete. What? Mom, like, what are you talking about? And they were like, you are an athlete. So think about that. If that's what encourages you, by all means, like, I totally can relate to that. And so get it where you can. So our workout, if you guys haven't already known, so the workout is, and it's for all three workouts, right? So I know most of you have been posting photos and you've been checking in, and I can't tell you how it makes me so happy as your coach just to see these things, and it's motivating for me. So thank you for your enthusiasm and your dedication and your persistence. And you guys are such a fun group, and I'm so thankful to have all of you. So keep that up. So our workout for all three this week is, you start with a 5-minute warm-up always. Then you're going to alternate from 90 seconds of jogging and then 2 minutes of walking for 20 minutes. And then you're going to close at the end of that 20 minutes. You'll close with a 5-minute cool down every time. So your total workout will be 30 minutes. Just to say it again. So you're going to start with a 5-minute walking warm. So you're just going to walk for 5 minutes. Then you're going to run/walk let me back up. 5-minute warm up, alternate 90 seconds of jogging, and then 2 minutes of walking. So you'll run 90 seconds, walk 2 minutes, run 90 seconds, walk 2 minutes, for a total of 20 minutes. At the end of that 20 minutes, you'll cool down for another 5 minutes, okay? And so I'll post this again. I don't know if you see it's backwards on here, but so there's that. Other than that, next week, or this Saturday, again, just to recap, we're not going to have a live class because I know you guys have that event for the Dream Center. And so I will do a virtual video. The kids are actually going to be with family, so that'll be perfect. So I could just do a virtual video, better lighting, and definitely pull myself together a little bit more. But again, keep up the great work. You guys are doing an amazing job, and I love all of you, and I'm so excited, and I'm so thankful that you're here, and I can't wait to see all the amazing things that God is going to do in all of your lives, including my own. So again, thank you for taking the step of and stepping out in courage and just doing this class. So talk to you soon, guys. Bye.